Alrighty, Doc here from North America. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. And yesterday was an interesting one. We went after fair value because definitely things are weirder than ever. But we're not after that today. Today is we're looking at the dollar index. We're looking at the currency pairs. Watching what's going on in here, and we're seeing yesterday we had an interesting move in the stock market on the upside for a while, but the Dow Jones Industrial Average couldn't get really rolling. It was only up at most 200 points, and they were taking the S&P 500 up and bottom fishing in the Nasdaq. Matter of fact, today I think I've actually seen Apple looks like it after 21 or 22 days in a daily sell and weeks upon weeks in a daily sell is actually flirting with the buy side. So, there is some bottom fishing going on. That's what they refer to it in the hedge fund industry and the mutual fund industry and so forth. They're setting their hooks down at the bottom and seeing who they can catch. Something down at the low end. So. I saw Jamie Dimon interviewed. Hey, Robin, how you doing? All go out fine? All good in the hood? So we saw Jamie Dimon being interviewed over the last 24 hours, and he's basically saying, he sees the economy kind of quiet in a sense, sideways. It could be better, it could be worse, it could be, storms ahead or basically nothing at all. That is his way of interpreting it all. Excellent. So that's where we are today. And you can see on J4X right there, you can see that this is the weekly chart of the DXY, and you can see it's been moving down and down and down with all those red hinky askies. And you can see our green line underneath for weeks upon weeks and months upon months. And then here in, I guess it was mid-December, it started to try to turn up. And they started to buy the dollar index. And the same thing over here on Chicago Quant. Where is that at? Let's put that right there. Here it is on Chicago Quant. The dollar index. The dollar index, let's try that again. The dollar index, right there. You see the same situation. Been in a weekly sell since November. And I think it did some type of in and out thing. Nah, it was pretty much, matter of fact, that doesn't even look like a buy. Why is that there? Remove. Oh, that was a buy. Okay, yeah. So it was right on the edge. It went into the buy and then went back into the sell. And then we flirted last week with the buy up until Thursday, Friday. We were playing with the buy. It looked like they were trying to turn it up. We got into a daily buy here. Nice big pop on, what was that? That was Friday. And then by the end of the day, smashed through. It just smashed it right through. So, and you can see here the dollar index now has been in a daily sell now for 3 days or 2 days? I guess 2 days. Right there. And it does seem to be like it wants to lift up. We're seeing interest rates. That was one of the other things Jamie Dimon talked about, who's chairman of JPM JPM Chase. I'm sorry. That's an insult. JPM Chase basically said that depositors have lots of money in their checking accounts. He's talking about, he's the largest bank in the United States. He says people are, have capital to work with, and the economy doesn't look that bad. It's sloppy and it's sideways, and there's no doubt that it's not exploding on the upside at all. Not like a Trump years, but it's not crashing, and that's the good thing right there. He says there's storm clouds in the future. He said the same thing 3 or 4 months ago, and he said he didn't regret saying it, but it's not a hurricane as far as he was concerned. He didn't relate to it as something disastrous. We have seen some analysts come out and say they thought they would see the dollar weaken more and stock market kind of fall down more. So we're seeing those type of signals and so forth, and they are playing the game of fair value. They follow their old rules of fair value, and we just shake our heads at it. And we know now more than ever that technical analysis is more of a clarity of fair value than anything else, since everything else is hyped or controlled by the quantitative easing. All right, from there we'll jump over to the euro and start looking at individual pairs themselves. And euro has been in a daily buy for a few days here. You see it right there. Let's put that in there. Yeah, the banks are going to start reporting their earnings and so forth very soon. So that'll get everything jumping along also. And they should be making money. Interest rates went up. They are charging more. You would assume that their earnings will look much better. And you can see here, since mid-October, we've been in a buy now since the all-time lows of the euro. And when we go over and look at it at J4X, right there, and that's the weekly. You can see it's been in that long weekly buy like us, and at the same time going into the daily. There it is. So they're showing the last 2 days in a buy, pushing up, looking good. You see the green line's been through for 3 days, just like ours has. And everything else is, very, dollar should move down. If we're going to see a firm economy, less spending, less, wasting money type of thing, we should see a dollar that goes sideways more than anything else, sideways and down, I would think. Get back to that 94, 95, 93 area in the dollar index. And for the euro, I imagine as long as we're staying weekly buys and daily buys, it's going to keep on finding its way to go higher. That's the way it usually works around here. And from there, we jump to the cable. And there's the cable. You see this cable in the same situation. A couple days in a daily buy. Still in the weekly sell here for the last couple of weeks. And it did have that nice little push down, but now it's trying to find ways to lift back up again. So I'm not exactly thinking, chaos or disaster or anything like that for England. It looks pretty good here. And it's been kind of a sideways chop. Looks like it's trying to build a base. We got down into same situation late late October, going into the week of, what was that, the 21st, got into a weekly buy. And let's see what it looks like over here on J4X. Put the weekly in there. Right there. Right there. There's the cable. So you see most of that strength kicking out in the Octobers. And it's held pretty well. It's had a little correction. I mean, after a nice move like this from that low of, what was that? One was par something. I guess we could take the hinky off for a second to see what the real low was. Yeah, I guess they're using that as the low. So 103 is that? Looks like 103 to me. Let's make it bigger. Yeah, 103, 261. So made that big low that week and climbed back up, and that started the race to the upside. Let's get the hinkies back going. There we are. And let's see how it goes right here. You see that same situation on that weekly buy with that low of that week of even lower, it looks like. Let's see, let's move that over a little bit. Oh, there were even lower lows back even further in September. So you're looking at, oh, that might be the low, the big low right there. Move that line down. And it took a couple of weeks for it to get into the buy. We jumped into a daily buy there, stayed in it, and then came in for the correction, back into another daily buy again, and then finally got into the weekly buy. And I guess that's how that, went into a buy and a sell and a buy. And this is the weekly here. So it did pretty much the same thing. And then I guess it's the middle of the middle over here. That's where this lines up with this right there. Now let's check out the daily, just to get a flavor of the action. And you can see there. Let's move that over. There, same thing. Couple days in a buy. It's the line's been through the zero line. This thing's done the same thing. It's gone through it, paled back, and now is really. Let's make this bigger. So it looks like it's just really vacillating on. Oh, there it is. That's better. You see that it's jumped across the last couple of days. So we're seeing the strength in there. And so the cable's looking consistent. I guess this is best way to describe it is consistent. Which sounds good, yeah. All right, and then from there, we slide over to the, where do we go from there? Oh, I guess it's over here. We have it listed first. Let's go through the list here, and there it is, the Swiss franc. The Swiss franc's doing the same thing. It's trading in the same fashion as the euro and the cable, and it's in a daily sell now for 3 days. Remember, when this is in a sell, it's gaining against the dollar. Right there. And we've been in that weekly sell since those wild, woolly Credit Suisse weeks where the Federal Reserve came in and did swaps to prop it up. And sure enough, things seems to be all smoothed out. And that's the, what is that? That's the daily. And then you can see the same thing over here on the weekly. There it is. And that weekly, doing that same thing. It's pressing down the last couple weeks. That doesn't sound right. No, that's cable. That doesn't make any sense. Let's get the Swiss up there. There it is. So there's that weekly. That's better. At that high, Credit Suisse gets cleaned up by the Bank of Switzerland itself, the central bank, and the Federal Reserve. Whatever issues they had to do, they did, and it's done and over with, obviously, at this point. I think the stock is trading in the $3.50 $4 area now, too, when it comes to Credit Suisse. It's obviously it's like Deutsche Bank in a sense, and Citibank and so forth, where they've never really recovered from 2008. And I'm sure if we saw Lloyd's in London, it would be the same way. They would be probably not recovered from 2008 either. A lot of them are just hollow companies, just trying to just preserve the investors in the bonds, that type of thing. And that was Bernanke's philosophy back then too. And that has been his philosophy and has been carried forward by the central banks and enjoyed of, they enjoy spending more money than they normally would be allowed to do. And the objective really is to keep these dead companies that were poorly managed alive so that the bondholders, which have billions of bonds in, alive also at the same time. But last I saw, like Citi is a good example in the United States. It's basically controlled and owned by the Federal Reserve, and it trades, I think the stock was, its all-time high was $670, and it trades now at $45 a share or something like that, which is, and same thing with like a Deutsche Bank, it's the same percentage. All-time high is, 85, 90% higher. Whereas you can see like a JP Morgan or a Goldman Sachs or even not Wells Fargo since they had their issues, but, PNC and, some of the different banks in the United States. And then when you look out to like other banks outside the United States, they've found ways to get back to their all-time highs and so forth, but not the ones that really were crushed and pretend to be, independent and functional today. They're just kind of slowly growing again, hopefully good management, and, in 20 or 30 years, they may be back on track, but not now. They're definitely not on track now, that's for sure. And then there's the daily. And you can see the dailies with that pressure for the last couple of days, just like we have it right there. So that's a very positive sign for the Swiss. You know, it's gaining against the dollar. And it was losing when it was that high up. Now it's gaining. Then we drift over to the yen, which seemed to be totally linked with the Swiss. There's Metho. Hey, Metho. The yen was linked to the Swiss, so the Swiss was linked to the yen, one or the other, or both together. It was very odd. You can see this nice slide over the last 6 weeks right there. You know, it's been very impressive. Let's put it up over on Chicago Quant. What you up to, Metho? Anything good? Are you looking at anything in particular? There's the yen. You can see we've been in that weekly sell since November, the early parts of November, towards those 40-year highs or 35-year highs. That's what that was, 30 and 40. I guess it was like, what year is this? 23 now, right? So they were taking out something like the 87 or 86 highs, something like that, 85 highs. So that's what happened with the yen. The yen went up to like 35-year highs. Russell 2000, sure. See what the Russell's up to. The most speculative of our stock indices here in the States, the Russell. Right there. And it is trying to lift. You can see it's doing a pretty good job. It's in that weekly sell right there. And it's flirting. You see what I call the echo, which is not really the echo. Now we've found out, I was talking with my son about how we rewrote that code about 7-8 years ago, and realized that it's not an echo, it's an accelerant. In other words, it's a faster, not a slower, from the white and the green, which I could never understand. I kept on saying to them, I don't understand why the slower of the two is leading, not following. So the green and the white is the 5, which I always thought was the 3, which made no sense because it never matched up to a 3. And then the dashed is or dotted there, the cyan or light blue is the 3. And you can see it got over the weekly buy on Friday. And it's just under, no, it's still over it. It's at 103. It's still in the buy. And so we're seeing that strength. And we also saw the same thing with, that pushed me into the call spreads on Friday for the same reason. Saw the same action in the S&P 500. And you can see here, Friday they jacked it up. Yesterday they launched it, one of the highest highs, almost taking out the December high. That December high was pretty tenacious, 1900 and change. Matter of fact, the first coming out of November, the December highs were really powerful. They really reached for this product. Now this is money what fund managers do with this product in particular, since it's the lowest of the low cap. Stock indices. So in other words, companies in this might have, I think 300 or 400 million, $500 million, maybe even less. I think the most expensive one in there might be $2 billion. They're very small in capitalization, which in these times $2 billion is not that small. My son was telling me something about he's an economist, and he was works with a portfolio team, and he was saying to me that he just joined another company, or he was following a company. I guess they were following another company, and he was saying that it's now worth about $50 billion. No, not 50 billion, 50 million. That's it. And he said that over the next year or two, he figures it's going to jump up into like possibly the 2 billion mark. So I have a list of companies in the Russell 2000. Do you? Is it 2,000 of them, or is it in that dilemma like the Wilshire 5000, where there's only like 3,500 companies in the 5,000 now? What's the biggest company in the Russell 2000? I can Google that too at the same time. That'd be interesting to know what the biggest company in the Russell 2000 is. Let's try that. Biggest company in Russell 2000. What companies are included in the Russell? That's interesting. I got a list of it too then. There we go. Who's the biggest? I guess I don't even know how to say that name. It's a New York stock, OVV. So Oventive? Yeah, I see that. Okay. I'd really love to see how much it is too. Let's see. Russell, it says here, note, according to the FTSE Russell, the average market cap of a company in Russell 2000 was a little under 2.8 billion as of July of 22. Let's see. Let's see if it. So I understand the biggest is up in the twos or threes, something like that, and then the smallest is supposed to be, less. 11.82 billion. That's what the OVV is now. Wow, that's pretty big, isn't it? I see. I see Russell's list. Let's see what the Russell's list is. They're not putting the billions on it. That's too bad. They just show it a list. Market beat is the page. Market cap. Yeah, I got. I'm on fkfnoll.com. Market beat. Let's go to market beat. Market beat. Russell 2000. Okay, there we go. All right, so no, that's not it. Let's see, block. All right, so I'm trying to find the companies. Okay, there we are. Key executives. So this OVV is almost a $12 billion company. Yeah, I know. That's why I just blocked them. I hit the block on it. So is OVV? Let me see what OVV is. Yeah, they keep on trying to send me stuff. OVV, just every OVV. Oh, it's an oil company. Is that an oil company? OVV. It's almost a $50 stock. Let's see if it tells us something about the company. There's only 2 million shares outstanding. Is that what right? And let's see. Okay, so it's an oil company. Alberta Exploration and Development. Yeah, that would make sense with the way oil prices have moved. So that would make sense that it's an $11 billion company. So that makes total sense. Oh, actually, and their net income is $1.5 billion. Interesting. Let's see. Annual sales $8.6 billion. Cash flow $10 a share. Book value almost $20 a share. Oh, free float. Okay, so they got 243 million shares outstanding. Market cap is 12.26. I see that. Okay. It says the market cap today is 12.26 now. It's a 2.7. It's almost a 2.8 beta. I think I'm going to put this website into my Let's see, what do we sign up? Email address. Let's see. We're just going to go backwards. Right there. And block. And backwards again. I want to go to the home page on this. There it is. And let's put that into my trading area. Interesting website. Unfortunately, they're just going to pester the daylights out of me if I don't give them my email. But yeah, okay, so the Russell has a couple of big companies in it at this point because of that. Now, oh, Chesapeake Energy's in there too? Boy, did they basically went to bankruptcy and now they're back to life again. So they must be like in the 8 or 9 or 10 billion. Actually, I'm going down there today. Let's see what else we got going on there. All right, so there's the Russell. Let's see if we can get it up on J4X. I think we've tried hunting for it on J4X before. Let's try this again. Let's see, where is R U S S E L. I could have sworn we found the Russell at one point. Nah, doesn't come up. All right. Well, at least we looked at that. That's interesting. I would say just, from looking at it on Chicago Quant, let's put it back up on Chicago Quant right there. It's flirting with trying to get going. Money's probably coming in bottom fishing. They're all going to do some bottom fishing in the beginning of the year. They're going to try to buy stuff that's been beat up over the last year. And they're hoping that things will turn around, They start to move in the other direction. Somewhere over the next 3 to 6 months. That's usually the way it works. All right, let's grab some tea after that. All right, now from there, oh, what's that? Metho says, next days, I hope I can buy the Russell at 1,700. Well, where's it at now? It's 1,798. It hasn't even seen 1,700. You think they're going to smash the market? Last time it was at 1,700 was back in October, right there, on October 14th. And it made a low the day before that at 1660. And then when we really squeeze it a little bit here, that's why I like the J4X. It'll show me further back on the price action. But you can see here it kind of made those lows and bottomed with the rest of the markets, and it's been holding up ever since. Let's see what else. I just want to show you one thing because of that, because the last with washout this year or last year. Oh, you think it's coming? Let me show you something about the Dow. Let's see, where's it at? Right here. We got all those signals that I follow. I invented, I guess. I invented them back in the 80s. And let me just show you that. Here's the March contract. And there's the washout right here. It does that washout down. And we get these inside days right here and outside days. 4 out of the 5 days, and I start telling everybody that this could be something major, and then we get it again a couple days here, and then we get another 4 out of 4 days there, and that was the washout. And our math gave us the warning that it was coming here in the middle of October. That it came. That something had happened big, and you can see that it since then the product has basically gone up and it seems to be creating a new bottom in here. I think the Dow would have to take out like the 32,000 area for a problem, for a new washout. I think that would be the answer to that. I'm not sure if you're going to get one yet. We'll see. Oh, let's do this. And then let's see if the December, that's the March one right there. Let's see what the December one. The December one, obviously, I keep it around still, but you can see it right there. 4 out of 5 days there. 4 out of 5 days there. You had this one right here. And I would say you're going to have to see this break of this. This 31,700 and change probably on the Dow Jones Industrial Average to get yourself a wipeout. I think that's the way it's going to play. Close workspace. All right. I think money is going to be bottom fishing for a while here. There's plenty of cash around. There's no reason for markets to want to run and hide. Earnings, that's what we're really watching for, is to see how weak earnings are. That's what it really comes down to. I'm eating some almonds. There we go. All right, from there, where were we at? We were at the yen, right? There it is up on J4X. So from yen, let's slide over to the Turkish lira. Right there. I think it's going to take something to get a washout, because I think the markets are happy where we are. February, yeah, usually in the middle of February you see some liquidity dropping. But I'd be surprised if you see something in January. Now really, that's probably the answer right there. I don't think you're going to see, would you say, the next day I hope I can buy at 1,700. I don't think it's going to be the next day. It's going to be more like, if it happens, I would think it would be somewhere around the second week in February, something like that. Not good for Russell 2000. Next week's. It's next week's work, not this week's work. Yes, exactly. I'll go with that. Not this week, but next week's work. And we'll see how next week brings us. All right, and then from there, let's slide over to, I want to move over to the Turkish lira. Euro Turkish lira, right there. But yeah, I agree with you. I kind of think that if we're going to see action, like a washout, you'll start seeing the Russell fall apart first. That would be the way I would think it would play. And so now here you can see that on the Turkish lira, it's moving up. They're starting to push even more. Let's put it up over here. There it is, right there, Turkish lira. Yesterday they got up to the 2032 area. Today they're trading at 2013. The pressure is on. It went into a buy here 2 days ago, and it's still in the buy, even with it dipping, because it was a red and a green right there. So we're in the daily buy there. We've been in the weekly buy in this product for a while. Well, let's go back now. Right there. There's the weekly buy right there. So next week's work. I like that. Not this week's work. Next week's work. And then from there, the Turkish lira, you can see it there. Let's see what the weekly looks like there. Same thing, I'm sure, as ours, with that long, steady weekly run. Yep, look at that. Long, steady weekly run. Same thing here. Long, steady weekly run. It's interesting to see we talked about price discovery yesterday, fair value. I really have my doubts that they have so much control over those things now, and let's say they massage them. I'm not going to refer to it as anything more than they massage them. And I would say that they'll massage them so that the earnings don't look too bad. And projections I bet they all start telling us how great the projections look for 2024 or the fourth quarter of 224, things like that. That's probably going to be the song they sing. All right, now from there we go over to the two currencies that match up to commodities, the oil one and the gold one. And so let's zip to that, and that is the Canadian. So we'll put the Canadian. Where's the Canadian at? There's the CAD right there. And so it's been breaking down the CAD. And when the CAD is going down in value, usually oil is going up in value. Let's see how it looks here. There we go. It went up yesterday and got into the buy, and it's kind of stumbling, just nothing major. But what's interesting is that it has had higher highs for 3 days out of the last 4. Today hasn't done anything. And I guess that's why we have lower lows in the Canadian there, like that. And then we could switch it around, put oil in there. There it is. It's 74.82. You see the same thing there. And let's put CAD in here. There's CAD. And you can see the CAD has been moving down, but kind of quiet the last 2 days, really. And it's actually a little bit firmer today. Look at that. Up just a little bit. So it's losing a little money. But and that represents the way the way the oil is moving at the same time. Then, and there's your sell. And then also you can see it closed in a weekly sell last week. So that is kind of a bullish sign for the oil market. Right there. There we are. And let's just save that. There you go. All right, and then from here we drift over to the South African Rand. So what we're going to do is we're going to put the South African Rand up on the screen here. Right there. Trading at 1708, pressing down a little bit the last couple of days. Interesting. Green line breaking down. That's the daily. And let's take a look at it over here in the gold market, which looks very firm, where the silver market has been kind of sloppy. I think it's fighting to get into a buy again today. It fought yesterday to get into a buy and did not do it. But today, now here gold has been in a buy for 2 days. This is the third day, looking firm. Still steady with its weekly buy. Whereas in the silver market, we'll go back to these metals after we finish the currencies off, and you'll see how silver has flirted with the weekly sell and is at the moment below the weekly sell. And then we just reverse it out. We put the gold in here. There's the gold, looking very firm. Let's see, and then you can see here on Chicago Quant went into a buy like it did here, and then it got into a sell for a day and then right back into the buy again. And in here it doesn't even represent it, except for the green line drops underneath all this. So you're not supposed to be long this move here. You're just not supposed to be short, though. Don't be short. You might not be long, but it's unless you're trading options, and then you can have option spreads on. But if you're trading the hard delta, it's telling you that it could be breaking down. And it did. It tried to break down there. You can see that on the gold itself, like that. And then let's put the ZAR up on there. Where should we go? Let's go here. We'll put the South African Rand on this instead and see how the political triangle is doing. If anybody's heard any news about what they're doing with the $500,000 found, love to know about it. You can see it here. They're flirting with the sell today, but at the same time, it's up at 07. and it went into the weekly sell last week. So that's a bullish sign for the metals complex, which we think should show strength for at least another 3 to 4 weeks. And then there's all the talk of this is the year. This is the year where gold gets going. I don't believe that. I just thought we would see a lot of strength in the fourth quarter, and we have. But I don't, I think we could be firm throughout this. I think it would take some real calamity, like stopping central banks from doing what they do, and it's really hard to stop them. They just march along, doing whatever they want to do. Let's fix that too. Make that a dotted line. Right there. And right there. There we are. And you see it's pressing underneath today. This is the political channel right here. It was a triangle for a while. This is where they found the $500,000 sitting in the president's office and of cash. So I don't know. Well, it seems to have disrupted looking at the currency itself and the metals market. But overall, if it can fight its way down more and more and more, you have to assume that gold is going to go up, up, and up. That's probably the best way of describing it. All right, and then that pretty much completes those two. And then what we do is we look at the Mexican peso's got Mr. Biden down there today. I don't know what the hell he's doing down there. Probably he's so weird and different. For all these decades, it's so hard to ever take him serious. When he says something, because they'll just clean it up afterwards. If he says something stupid, which he usually does all the time. There's Mexican peso moving down, which makes total sense to me. That's the daily. Let's look at the peso over here. It's breaking the bottom channels. There we are. Right there. And trying to take this low out here of 1903. And the low there is 1908. And that low there was 1910. So it's working its way down. We went into a weekly sell last week right there. And we think now that the Congress is removed removed away from President Biden, things are going to be a lot more logical and healthier and so forth. So that's what I think the Mexican peso is reading. All right. Anything else, Metho? Care for anything else out there? We've pretty much completed the currencies, so there's the S&P 500. Now let's drift over to the metals complex. There's gold. Let's see silver. And there is silver right there. You see it's trying to get into a weekly sell, but not doing too good a job, obviously. And what else is there? I don't know who that is, so it doesn't matter. And so you can see daily buy is even with it down, it's trying to get into a daily buy. I would think that if they're bottom fishing in Russell, no thanks. I'm cooking. Excellent. Cook away. Yeah, I would say this. I would think that if they're starting to bottom fish in the stock indices and Russell in particular, that you would think that they would be bottom fishing in silver still. We kind of think that silver has a shot at getting through the 25 area, maybe 25 and a quarter to a half. It doesn't really show anything there. Only hearing. Okay, that's good. I do the same thing. I listen to things but not necessarily watch things. So it just missed going into the sell last week. And you can see there, it's got the big pink circle going on. So it's trying to, it's underneath the number right there. So we're a little disappointed. The silver has run out of steam and gold has not, which is interesting. Now let's show you why you would think that gold and silver would be showing strength. And obviously it's the Chinese factor, really. is that what we're seeing is that the copper market. Let's put the copper market up here. Oh, and here's silver on J4X there. Just showing constant weakness and pressure on the way down like that on the daily. And on the weekly, let's see what the weekly looks like. And then we'll go over to copper. Right there. And so you can see there, silver is still climbing on J4X. So if it stays like this for another day, I'd imagine you'll, even by the end of the day, well, yeah, by the end of the day, you might actually start to see the weekly try to turn red. It should start to turn. And that'll be interesting just to see the horse race there, because if silver starts to bottom in here again, then we won't see the weekly at all turn on J4X. It'll just like as if it never happened. All right, and then let's look at copper now. There's copper. You can see it's had a wonderful move from the 350 area. Is that the 350? No, 370 area. I'm sorry, 370 area up to over $4. So we're seeing some really interesting strength. I know there's a lot of hope with China. China's kind of like under the mystique, and so everybody's thinking that China is going to, try to help the world climb out of its, doldrums. I think it is. They actually, a lot of people actually pretend that China is an engine to growth. I have to unfortunately say I have not seen that. I see them spend money, but it's only money that they bring in from the United States. I don't really see it as like anything more than just, exports money. But, hope is eternal. Maybe it'll happen this time. I kind of doubt it, just solely because of what we watched over the last 2 years, the bankruptcies and the way the government didn't support the foreign investors. I would think that what will happen is that there'll be more and more caution now about plowing money into China. And but that's all right. If the analysts, that's what the analysts are trying to do. They're trying to tie a open, they call it an open Chinese economy, or a COVID open. That's it. The COVID open economy. And because they see it that way, they're thinking that that being allegedly the second largest economy in the world, which it's not. We know that it's the European Union is the second largest economy in the word. That's 20 some odd trillion or 19 trillion, whereas China, we're not even sure what China is, but we know one thing: it's definitely not the second largest economy. That's for sure. But that copper, to me, always represents the attitude of the economy there. So you got to figure copper. Let's put copper up on J4X here. Copper is down still, even with it trading at $4 a pound. Copper is still down about 20% for the year. So if it really does represent the Chinese economy as everybody thinks it does, then, or at least I think it does. Let's see, where is that? Copper right there. And you can see it, and let's put that's the weekly. You can see the high, the all-time high there is 5 and change. What is that? That is basically $5, 503. Okay, and here we are trading at 403 basically, or 401. So we're not really seeing, it still takes a lot of work. It fell from the 5s all the way down to the low 3s, and now we've bounced a good, 50% bounce from that sell-off, which is nice, but I'm not confident. I don't think we're going to be seeing, what's that, 460, 470, something like that. I don't know if we're going to be seeing those numbers, but I wouldn't complain if we saw them. We're in a time of inflation, so that would make some sense. All right, from there we'll take a look at the platinum. I don't think we did yesterday. We were involved so much with the fair value conversation. Let's find platinum over here. And there is platinum right there. And you see they're holding up very well, very comfortably. The weekly looks very good. You know, it's not backing off. You see the daily is something, hasn't it? It's the daily was, oh yeah, it threw it into a sell for a day and jumped right back in. So let's put that in there. There's the sell. And then the next day it jumped right back into the buy again. There we are. Oh, I see. Today it's flirting with the sell as we speak. Down minus 47 there. 147. We'll see what they do. They're hanging around the $1,100 area, which is very interesting. From there, let's slide over to the energy sector. We're going to put the Brent up there. There's Brent back under 80. Yesterday we had just gotten over 80 again. That was pretty cool. And you can see, as I showed you a few secs ago, let's see, where's it at? Right here. There is crude just up a little bit, nothing major, and that's trading at 74.90, basically 91 as we see it, 92 now. Let's see what the back month of May is reflecting. Is at 75.68. So it's carrying almost a 76 cent premium now. So they're buying back months. They think that there's going to be some demand going into April and May. So, and you can see it slid into the weekly sell right there, the back month, and it's already jumped up and is playing with the weekly buy. And when we look at Brent, let's see how Brent is looking on a week. Oh, that is the weekly basis. Okay. So it's showing a couple weeks of selling still right there. But you can see the green line has turned up. It's showing some strength in there. So it's joining in with us on part of it. Then from there we slide over to nat gas. Let's see what natural gas looks like. Right there. There's U.S. natural gas trading at $3.70 a cubic foot. We hear stories of about $27 or $25 in Europe. It's an incredible arbitrage. You know, 7 times, 8 times the value. That's amazing. No wonder we've exported more natural gas ever this year, with Mr. Biden trying to block it at the same time. But, you know, it's like you got to let that, you know, everybody get a taste. It's like the Sopranos. And let's find it right there. There's natural gas. Here in the States, you see it trading at $3.40, almost 42 cents. And you can see right there, J4X bidding 42 cents also. You know, it's holding up in there. And you see that pressure in it like that. And this is a weekly chart. And we've been the same way. We've been in the sells since the $6 area. The last time we went into a sell was in the $8 area. Yeah, 780, something like that, 770. And rode for just 1 week. After was at 5, 10, about 12 weeks in a sell, went into a buy and then just rolled over again. Would have created. Oh, okay. They're still talking about energy on the TV. All right, and then from there we slide over to the what is it? Right here. We go to the an oil company in Spain that gives us a general idea. I think we're looking for like it's probably going to be trading around 26, 25.32. Good. It's moving down even more. This is the weekly. Let's see what the daily looks like. Right there. And it's been pressing up for a couple of days. And they're saying here that it drifted into the 24s. Let's turn that off for a second. Yeah. It got down into the low 24s, which is pretty cool. And this is the daily. And now they're perking it up a little bit because of the cold weather coming in. But that's what they've done. That's the only way we can follow natural gas in Europe at the moment. And then from there, we'll take a look at the stock indice real quick, and then we're going to get out of here. So, where is it? Let's put the Dow, the S&P 500 on there. We showed you the Dow earlier. Where are you at? S&P 500, right there. You see, it's showing on the daily little firmness. They peaked out yesterday. We'll see what they do today, and let's see how they look on Chicago Quant, right there. You see they've peaked out and they're heading towards the lows of the day here, but the daily's holding up firm. The weekly had the 3 push into a weekly buy last week, and that's why I was long some call spreads, and it paid off, and they popped it nicely. And then now it's flirting with the sell again, so it's not looking that good. We would have been happier to see this blue dot line stay over the plus side, and we can't get the 5 to even get into the plus, so there's not a lot of buying going on. Let's just go back to Russell again. I just want to see. I think the Russell looks the same way. Where's the Russell at? There's the Russell. I think the Russell's looking the same way. Yeah, played with it. It's now below it. I think earlier when we were looking at it, the Russell was actually still plus a little bit in the blue and the fast side of it, but the slow is having a hard time. So we're not really seeing the stock indices do anything but chop. That's all they're doing is chopping. All right, traders, we got to come up with a title for this today. What should we call it? Let's see. The title today could be, let's see, do we have anything off? I don't know. What did we talk about? We talked about basically, what did we start off with? I guess we're just looking at, silver is, I guess, retracing. How about that? That's what it seems like, too. Because you got copper up, you got gold up, and you have platinum still in the weekly buy. But when it comes to silver, silver seems to be really having its issues. And copper is running, and silver is not. So let's do that. We're going to call this webinar Silver Retraces, Copper Runs. It sounds good to me. All right, traders, this is Doc from North America saying happy trails to you until we meet again. Happy trails to you, to all our trading friends. Later, traders. Check you later, Metho. Later, Robin.